really help. President Trump and Speaker Pelosi are set to head to the negotiating table, but one group of women say the Speaker needs to see the Border Patrol agents in action to fully grasp what is going on.
In a letter to Pelosi, they wrote, "We, the wives of the Rio Grande Valley Border Patrol, would like to cordially invite you to come visit McAllen, Texas, as President Trump did. We would like to show you around. You don't need to bring any security detail. Our husbands, significant others, are actually very good at their jobs, thank goodness. We'd also appreciate if you'd stop pretending that you care about federal workers. If you did, you would care for their safety, not just their paychecks. We can hold out a while longer if it means our husbands and communities are safer." Joining us now, Border Patrol wife who wrote that letter, Jill Demansky, and fellow Border Patrol wife and a friend of Jill's, Renee Perez. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Jill, why did you write that letter? What brought you to the point where you were so frustrated you wanted to get your message out?
I just felt that it was really important that our leaders come here and see what's happening firsthand. It's important for them to meet with the people that are here on a daily basis, that are witnessing it and the effects that it has on our country. And we want them to come here and make an informed decision and to see what's really going on.
Right, and that's the hope that's going to happen with the 17-person committee. But Nancy Pelosi has totally changed her stance since President Obama was president. She said she wanted to help border agents. Renee, what does your husband say it's like there when you have hundreds now coming to the border and sometimes you're by yourself?
It can be overwhelming. I mean, they do a fabulous job of protecting us. We feel safe in the valley because of them, but they definitely need a wall or a barrier in the high traffic areas. It will allow them to do their job more efficiently and give them more time to have other people, if they are by themselves, to have another agent go and meet them. It is definitely needed, and we just want them to come down there on the line and actually see where the whole argument is about. Come and visit it and let the agents let them know why they need it.
Yeah, Jill, what would you show her if she did say, yes, I'll come down and visit with you?
Well, I would hope that she would go out with our agents right on the line and see. I don't think it's fair that they're asking one or two agents to handle groups of hundreds of people crossing over at one time, and we see with these caravans more and more coming. We don't think it shows that they are worried about our agents' safety when they're asking one person to handle this many people coming through one time. But if we have a barrier there, it will definitely slow that down and be able to get them the help and resources that they need. We just think it's really unfair to ask them to be doing that by themselves.
Yeah, 1 in 5, apprehensions are up, and 1 in 5 they say they're missing the other 4. So more agents, more of a border wall would certainly help. Renee, it's been tough on you guys. You haven't gotten paychecks in 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, actually, I think it's been like 4 weeks, and we still have yet to get the back pay. So it is hard on our families, and that's one of the reasons why I was so glad Jill wrote that letter, is because it was kind of written in a time of high emotion. It's been tough, and at times we have felt like nobody cared about us as families, about our agents, about, they're working literally what they see every single day. They go to work armed, and they're not getting paid. And so for families, for us, 4 kids, 3 kids, it gets tough. Bills don't stop. And so we were feeling like we were forgotten.
Yeah. See, what gets me as a mom, I just think you are sending your husbands out the door every day. They're kissing you goodbye, kissing your kids goodbye. And then they're begging the government to help them, to give them what they need. And many people feel like the government's just ignoring them. We just saw a picture, Jill, of your husband greeting the president. What did they talk about down there on the border? There's the picture.
Thanking him for actually coming here and seeing what's going on firsthand, and actually finally having somebody that we feel has our back. I think it's really important to note that it is not President Trump that is necessarily asking for the wall. Border Patrol and our agents, our experts here have been asking for it for years. We finally have a president that has come here and seen firsthand the need for it and has had our back. I don't know of many presidents that could really have gone through the turmoil that he's gone through to try to help us get this. So again, it's Border Patrol and the agents that are asking for it. It's not Trump. So you can support a wall, without being a supporter of Trump. They don't
Yeah.
have to go hand in hand.
Right. The reason why you don't have it is because it's Donald Trump. Jill and Renee, thanks so much.
Thanks,
Thank you
ladies.
for having us.
Americans want a secure border. We expect Congress to deliver a secure border. I do think it's an emergency. Texas is at the front of this, and we're tired of having to deal with the consequences of it. Congress has to step up.
Tell me about your reaction to the fact is the murder of your nephew was an illegal immigrant.
It actually should have been preventable.
Over the
This
last-
never should have happened. He should have been deported.
We still have a wide open border. We're dealing with human trafficking every day. We're dealing with drug smuggling.
The problem is, how do we keep them from coming in? They are
We built
coming
a wall.
in. Well, the wall.
Build a barrier.
Let's build a wall. Build a wall. Build a wall.
A lot of people were saying that there.
And Greg Abbott, the governor, was on there, and they were asking, he took some questions, and people were saying, we need you to support our president. And he had good answers and good responses. He seems like he really knows what's going on.
A couple of things. Ainsley, Texas is changing. So you have, he wants to get elected. He's a politician. And there's a sense, the polls show more people don't want a wall than do want a wall. Now, if the question was, do they want bollard fence, do they want fencing or bollard steel planks, it might have been different. So he knows that, and they want him to be stronger. Governor Perry, for the most part, was stronger on the wall. You remember what he did than Abbott. But the bond, when he went in, when he came into that room, he was like a rock star. And his first thing was, can I have enough time to talk to everyone before we roll the cameras? So we actually delayed the start for 15 minutes so we could talk to people
Well,
openly.
he said what you don't see, what the public doesn't see, is that I'm meeting with Kristen Nielsen at least once a week and talking to her about how we can improve the border.
Right, and there's a lot of ranchers who don't want the fence on their property, and they're suing. And there's a lot of ranchers who say, someone's got to help me, I don't have any help.
Well, as we heard from the Democrats over the weekend, they're all for border security. The big question is, does that involve some sort of a barrier? And that is where the fight is right now.
Yeah, excellent job, Brian.
Lead story, the migrant caravan now swelling to 12,000 people at Mexico's southern border.
The group not stopping their march in the United States.
Yeah, but there's no crisis. Griff Jenkins has been covering the caravan for us very closely. He joins us live from Washington. Griff, you're one of the few people not surprised by this.
I'm not, guys. Good morning. And listen, on this Monday, we have to talk about the numbers. This is quickly becoming an issue for not just U.S. officials, but also for Mexican officials. Both sides of the border are feeling this. Now, when Mexico's new president took a very pro-immigrant approach to this crisis, offering this temporary asylum and work visas for up to a year, it's unclear he had any idea just how many would come. And it's unclear how many of these will stay in Mexico as opposed to attempting to cross into the U.S. Now, as of this weekend, Mexico's Institute for National Migration, who is the official scorecard keeper, has 11,366 adults registered and 2,649 minors who have registered at Mexico's southern border. And according to people that I spoke to over the weekend, this number is expected to grow. Now, that's in addition to the 2,000 plus in the caravan who crossed illegally with the doors wide open. We were there when that happened. They're on the march to the U.S. border. They're on the outskirts of Mexico City this weekend. So when you talk about these numbers, it's well over 12,000, an unprecedented number that we have seen in recent years. Officials in Tijuana are certainly concerned about these numbers where they saw the last caravan gather. But it is White House Chief of Staff Nick Mulvaney who took to the airways this weekend to say, look, the president is committed to what is now a crisis.
He's willing to do whatever it takes to secure the border. He does take this very seriously. This is a serious humanitarian and security crisis, and as President of the United States, he takes the security of the nation as his highest priority.
And here's the kicker. Look at this. I received this flyer over the weekend calling for another caravan to depart San Pedro Sula, Honduras, where the last one did on January 15th. It's the same location, 11 p.m. They're going to start marching again. So these numbers are getting higher and higher. It is going to be an issue that everyone on both sides of the border has to deal with very, very quickly.
Guys, on February 16th, the day after they figure out whether or not the government's going to shut down again. Griff, real quickly, I know Mexico is encouraging migrants to stay and work. How many people are taking them up on that offer?
Hard to say, and I'd like to get back down there, guys, and find out for you, but I spoke to one migrant who signed up, received that asylum, and he actually texted me over the weekend asking if he could have some funds wired to him to take a bus to the U.S. borderline, as he called it. I presume he intends to cross illegally.
Wait, he was asking you personally?
Yeah.
He was, and we did not give it to him. Journalism rules prohibit
Wow.
from giving him free bus tickets. But, it's an indication. Listen, there's no surprise here. The final destination for the majority of these migrants is the United States. They say they want to come for work, and because of the horrific conditions in their home countries.
Well, because Mexico's president, excuse me, Brian, Mexico's new president is saying, you can stay here, I will support you. Many of them could do it the right way. They could go to the U.S., they could seek asylum, and then come back to Mexico, right? And just live there until they hear back from the United States.
That's correct, but here's the thing, Ainsley. Most of them know that they will be denied and they would not qualify for asylum just because they want a new job.
Sure.
Right.
All right, Griff Jenkins, who has been solicited to buy bus fare for one, but you buy for one, you're going to buy for 12,000.
And Griff, too, there's a Nigerian prince in desperate need of money as well. So I wouldn't give it to either one of those.
All right,
Separate
noted.
issue. Yeah. All right, Griff, thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Griff.
Meanwhile, this morning in the Wall Street Journal, Peter Nicholas of the Wall Street Journal got an exclusive interview yesterday with the President of the United States. Keep in mind, today the government is officially opened. Federal employees are going to get their back wages, which is great. And now it goes to a conference committee where 17 lawmakers will try to wrangle some sort of a deal. Does the president think that they'll be able to come up with something? He's skeptical.
He's doubtful. He said to the Wall Street Journal, I personally think it is less than 50-50, but you have a lot of very good people on that board. He also said that he doubts that he would accept less than $5.7 billion in wall funds.
Through this entire process, believe it or not, the Wall Street Journal did a poll with NBC. The president's approval rating stays exactly the same, 43% going in, 43% going out. Now, the president, every people saying, wow, he lost this round. I don't know if you lose this round at all, and if you do, I think people should understand it. That's what's called politics. Sometimes you get a leg up, sometimes you don't. What's the big picture? The big picture, there's a crisis at the border. Almost everyone realizes it. It's how to approach it is the key. My sense is there are some level-headed people who have emerged out of this. They're going to be part of the 17 who are going to come up with something out of this in the next 3 weeks. And they know a barrier, a bollard fence, that is something that people can deal with and they absolutely need. And if they are doing a true study, they're going to emerge from that. And it's going to be hard for the president to walk away.
In the Wall Street Journal article, it talked about, Mr. President, would you go for a barrier? Would you go for a wall? What are you talking about? He said, quote, I have to see what it is. As long as it can stop criminals, gangs, human trafficking, and drugs, I'm open to anything. But the only thing that will work is a very strong form of a physical barrier. So that's exactly where the friction is going to be. What is the physical barrier?
It's a hot topic, and we are 1 year away from 2020, where all of these folks are putting their hat or their name in the hat. They want to run for president, and the Democratic field is getting larger and larger. Kamala Harris was in her hometown of Oakland, California. She was there at City Hall. She got a big crowd. 20,000 people were out there to support her. This is what she said when she announced her presidency.
I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States. The American dream and our American democracy are under attack and on the line like never before. America, we are better than this. I'm running to fight for an America where the economy works for working people. I am running to declare once and for all that health care is a fundamental right, and we will deliver that right with Medicare for all.
Medicare for all, preschool for all. And she talked a lot about those things that are basically unaffordable, that would destroy private insurance if you want to do that. Yeah, but her composure was excellent. The crowd was excellent. She was comfortable. She's going to be formidable for anybody. They're going to look into her background. They're going to check out her record as Attorney General. It's just beginning. But in terms of her presenter with a lot of positive qualities, she's out there. But she's out there and she's strong. The question is America ready for California politics to go into Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, how popular are California politics in the other 49 states? Meanwhile, somebody who has not officially thrown his hat into the ring is the guy who started Starbucks, former CEO Howard Schultz. He was on 60 Minutes last night, and Democrats are furious with him. They're worried that if he runs, he would siphon so many votes away from the Democratic candidate. Donald Trump would win re-election easily if this billionaire, who could buy a commercial every 15 minutes on every TV station forever, he says he's seriously thinking about running. but he has not yet decided at this point.
I'm seriously thinking of running for president. I will run as a centrist independent outside of the two-party system. You know, I've been a lifelong Democrat. I look at both parties. We see extremes on both sides. Well, we are sitting today with approximately $21.5 trillion of debt, which is a reckless example, not only of Republicans, but of Democrats as well, as a reckless failure of their constitutional responsibility.
So they're basically cheering for somebody to run against Donald Trump. And when somebody like Howard Schultz with a rich resume and a Democratic background wants to run as an independent, they are basically vilifying him. And in fact, Neera Tanden has said if he runs, well, I'm going to organize a boycott against Starbucks. Something else about Howard Schultz I think is important. He is actually immoral, and there's something wrong with our system because according to AOC, he's a billionaire. And if billionaires become billionaires, they're clearly immoral. So he's got to be banned from this country.
Right, as long as he paid his fair share, she's okay with that.
He's in the tippy top, and he would need to give 70% of all the money he makes back to the government.
Listen,
for people who don't work, right?
Listen, if you love his latte, you'll love his administration.
Here's the thing. You know what? He's given, don't forget, he's given $150,000 to Democrats in the past. It's a lot of money. He was a Democrat. He's voted democratically, he said, most of his life. But now he's a centrist, now he's independent. And maybe he's saying that because the country feels so divided right now. And people are so angry on both sides that maybe he feels like he could win.
The worry is, would he essentially have the Perot effect that drew so many voters away from George Herbert Walker Bush, who was the incumbent, and that opened the door for Bill Clinton? Would that happen with Donald Trump and a re-election? Don't know. He has not decided whether or not he's going to run.
He is a self-made success story, and another one out of Brooklyn. We're not sure where Carly Shimkus is from. We're just glad she's here.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I was a self-made success story,
you are so
Do you
far.
have $3.3 billion in your bank account as well?
Oh, no, but maybe that's something to aspire to one day. Serious story to get to here. Police are looking for 2 suspects threatening to shoot and kill officers on social media.
I'm gonna kill you right up.
At least 3 videos are circulating, including this one that's been seen over 1 million times on Facebook. You can see a gun on the man's lap. Investigators in Chicago say they know the suspects and are working to file charges. And New York State could soon ban teachers from carrying guns in school. The bill is part of a sweeping gun control package introduced by Democrats' controlled state legislature. Republicans say arming the teachers improves public safety, while Democrats argue it's not necessary. Governor Andrew Cuomo is expected to sign the bill into law after the state Senate and Assembly vote on it tomorrow. And footage you truly have to see to believe. A man clings to the hood of a moving SUV for 3 miles in a frightening case of road rage. Police say the man jumped on the car after getting into a minor accident with the other driver in Massachusetts. The car reaching up to 70 miles an hour. The incident finally ending when a passerby with a concealed carry gun ordered the driver out of the SUV. The men involved in the fight are due in court today.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us on this very busy Monday. Coming up at 8:30 Eastern Time, Timothy Cardinal Dolan is going to be joining us live. He's going to be talking about this controversial new policy for New York State, which will provide abortion essentially up to birth of the child. A lot of people are outraged by it. If you have a question, email us, friends@foxnews.com, and we will talk to the Cardinal about that.
Isn't it 6 months? Up to 6 months?
No. Some of the articles I read said that, but then when we looked into it, it's up until the very day that the child is born.
You know what's so amazing? When Andrew Cuomo signed that, people cheered. Like, no matter where you stand, you cheer for that?
They lit up the World Trade Center in pink, cheering for that.
They did. The Cardinal is not cheering, and he will be with us in 2 hours and 30 minutes. In the meantime.